Hey there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All. We are continuing with learning Game Maker. We are continuing learning Towers vs Monsters official Game Maker template, how to use it, how to change it, and in this video today we are going to try to change the title of the menu, the look of it, and let's do it. First of all, for all of you who don't know what title is this image here, this picture which says Tower versus Monsters. Those are letters, but they are saved as image. Image is called sprite in game development, not only in Game Maker engine but in other game engines too. So this sprite, this image, this picture which says Towers versus Monsters is what we're going to change today. So that is what title is. So that's a sprite image picture. And second thing is that we need to have some kind of reason to do that, same as with previous video where I have talked about how to change those buttons. Same of those reasons can apply to this change. So for example, if you want to publish this template as a final polished game original, you would probably change the theme of it, features, enemies, and so on. So it won't be Towers versus Monsters. It can be something like science fiction or Wild West or horror or whatever. So you would need something original to stand out from other guys who are using this template also. But again, reason can be that you're working for someone else, for a client, and he needs changes of some things like title from time to time, or game designer which orders you to make that change. So those are all realistic scenarios. So we have learned that also. So let's finally see that in practice. But before we do that, again, this should be relatively simple and easy task, but because this template is already given to us by Game Maker, they did it in their way, and sometimes your way will be different. You will think you should do it this way, someone else some other way, and it doesn't matter in terms of, as long as it works, you should be okay. You shouldn't worry. Who cares if it works for me? I will do it my way, they will do it their way, and so on. But sometimes for example, if I want to use this template, I find it useful for some other stuff and reasons, and that works for me. But some features, some mechanics, some code they use here, like for example for buttons and title or background or whatever, it doesn't work for me. So I will have to see it, how they solved it, how they coded, how they created it, so I can make those changes. So that is one of the reasons why you should be aware when you and careful when you buy assets online. It doesn't matter if it's Unreal Marketplace or a Game Maker Marketplace, Unit Asset Store. Some of those guys who sell those assets give you real good information manuals, like a description how to change stuff and so on. So that is very important, and we did show some of those in previous video, where we have seen that these guys from Game Maker, they actually gave us some kind of documentation note where you can find some solutions and some information on things you want to change or to find, and this is necessary to read and come back from time to time. But you can also add here your own comments, like type here blah 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 and so on. So whatever you need once you make some changes or want to make some changes. So don't be afraid to do that. Okay, so in our concrete example, again, I want to change the title, and when I start my game, just to test how it looks, I can see that that title goes up and down, like some kind of image floating up and down endlessly. So if I left this menu runs for 1 hour, this title would be going up and down for 1 hour. Don't look at those buttons below and background which is green if you don't have it that way. We have changed that before. Concentrate on title only. So this image is animated, and this animation can be done in different ways. There are, at least as much as I know, 3 different ways. You can import sprite only, which is animated, and that sprite can be made in GameMaker, graphic editor, or imported from somewhere else. That is one way to animate image, but that image would be, I think, animated in place. Maybe, yeah, I think we can do that also, like with this example here. This is that would be one way. Other way would be to create object with sprite. So you can import sprite only, or the second option, object with sprite. Why would you import object with sprite if you can upload and put in sprite only? With objects you can add code, with sprites you cannot. So if you want to add some kind of code, like for example, I want to add code where this title changed the size. When I click on it, I would need object with sprite. You cannot do that with sprite or color or image or whatever change I want to make, or some complex movement, whatever you want to do with code, you need object to do that. So objects can have code, sprites are blank images only. So that would be the second option. And the third option, which is actually used here, is by sequences. Sequences are relatively new to GameMaker, I think couple of years old. That's new for me. In terms of GameMaker, they were not there with the earlier versions of GameMaker. So if you have old GameMaker Studio, you probably don't have sequences. The good thing with sequences is that you can animate position, scale, I think, rotation. So those basics transform values, position, scale, rotation, and it's like some kind of simple animation editor for images and objects. So again, you can import sprite or object into sequence and then animate it. All those 3 possible ways to do it: sprites and animation of sprites, the first option; the second option, objects and sprites with them and animation with code, the second option; and the third option, sequences and animation with them. All of those are huge, big features. They need. I will make a video about, maybe in future, about comparing those 3 topics. But again, they need time. They need time to understand the differences between them, and benefits or problems with them, and how and when to choose some of those. I just gave you simple basic information here, just to know that you can do same thing with different features in GameMaker, which is great, and that is in most game engines like that, or software. So use whatever you think it's good for you, or fastest, easiest. Again, nobody cares as long as it's working and it looks good for you in your game. So those rules are not set in stone. The problem here again is that we have sequences. We haven't learned them previously on our YouTube channel, Knowledge for All. Maybe we should do that as soon as possible, at least some simple example. And the whole idea again with sequences is that sequences are like some kind of animation editor, like we had graphics editor here when we open some kind of sprite and we can edit image. Click here, edit image. We have completely new software here to edit images, to draw directly without leaving GameMaker, and save that image. Same goes with sequences. You have a folder for those sequences. Click to open it, and we can see that those guys from GameMaker made some sequences for menus, for tower menus, for heads up display, and animation. So as you can see, you can use sequences animating in sequences editor for menus, HUD, and even for game like gameplay during the game, real-time gameplay, like for tower menus, for menus, simple animation, in-game animation, cinematics, and whatever. Again, there are limits to it, and that is whole new topic, but just to be aware that that is something which is in GameMaker now, and GameMaker as company, as much as I know, push that as much as possible in terms of use it. Okay, so here I have, let me check layers in my room menu, and again, if you don't have this room menu open, just click on this assets, then click on menu folder, rooms folder, and open room menu, and here it is. And if you don't have options for it, click on this inspector tab, wherever it is. It can be on left or right side, and you will see layers and options for whatever you have selected in this room. So if I try to click on button here, I cannot. If I try to click on title, I cannot, and I'm in problem. Why can I not select it? Is that objects sprite? What is it? I will turn the layers off with this icon here in my top left icon, and I will turn everything off. So I will now turn it on one by one. The first layer says background. When I click on it, I have selected it, I can work on it. When I click on this eye, it will show up, show off. So visibility on, visibility off, same as in, I don't know, Scratch or other software. But for now, I don't want to mess with that. We have changed that before. So far, so good. Okay, let me check instances. Instances are those objects which we have here in our object folder when you drag and drop them on the screen. So I can, for example, click on this obj zombie, drag it in our instances folder, and I can have zombie on this room, in this room, but I don't want to do that. I want just to check what instances I have. I can maybe have buttons or title. Someone could import them as objects, as instances of objects. But as I can see, there is only one question mark in top left corner. So let me select it and see what that is. That is obj persistent manager. So obj persistent manager, you can double click and zoom it to see it better. And I don't want to change that. I want to change my title, so better not to touch that. So I can turn it visible on or off, but so long we don't have buttons and title in our background layer, in our instances layer, so they must be here in sequences. And yes, they are. When you turn it on or off, so select sequence layer, turn it on, turn it off, on, and you can see that those buttons which we have changed in previous video and this title which we want to change today is here in sequences. So actually it isn't sprite imported here, it isn't object, because it would be in instances, it is sequence, and we haven't learned that, so we don't want to mess with that much. Maybe we could just try to import it as sprite, as I have just explained a few minutes ago, which would be the first option. The first option is I need sprite image only. It can be animated or not, who cares, but I need my image only on my screen. I don't want sequences, I haven't learned them, I don't have time to do that. Just give me the title as image. So I will click on my assets and I will find sprites folder, select it, open it. I will find my UE. Yeah, here it is, sprite title. First of all, I want to double click it to check how big it is. It's 600 pixels in width and 300 in height. Okay, it has some kind of, no, it doesn't have animation, so cool. This is sprite without animation. I just want this on my screen. I will click on room menu, click on assets on my left, try to drag it like here, and it can be done. The problem here is that I am now in my sequences layer. Sequences layer will let me do it. Let me try to put it in instances. So select instances, sprite title, and I have some kind of problem here, red X, which says, okay, this asset can only be applied to an asset layer, and you don't have currently one selected. Would you like to create a new asset layer? Cancel. Let me check this again. I'm in instances layer. Let me try with background layer. So instances won't let me, background will let me, okay, and sequences will let me, okay, but instances will not let me. Okay, so I can either just select background, maybe try to, yeah, but now I have changed my background in completely, which is what I don't want to do. So this is not smart, because the moment I drag my sprite, GameMaker thinks I want to change my whole background. So this background is not smart to use for title. Instances is also not available. Sequences was possible, but I don't want to experiment with it because I haven't used it. So let's see, what do I need to make? I need to make asset layer. Okay, I can say create here, or I can try to find it even better here in my inspector, and these buttons here, some of those must be assets layer. The first one says create background layer. No, I don't want to do that. Instance layer, no. Tiles, no. Path, no. Asset, oh, that's it. So I have created assets layer. I will right click on it to rename it, and I will call it title. Okay, so select that new layer, and you can add as much as you want here, but don't go crazy. It all depends on what you need, not what how much you can, because it will slow down your game on the long term. So click in asset browser, select whatever your image you want to put in. In my case is this, and just put it wherever you want. Test the game. And it works. We have two titles. Okay, that doesn't make sense, so we want to hide one or delete one. I am not going to delete it again because that is a sequence. I'm not sure how they work. We haven't learned them, blah blah blah. So let me try to hide it like this. Okay, I can hide the whole layer, but the problem here is now that I will have my buttons hidden also, which is a problem. Funny thing here is that although those buttons are hidden, you can still click on them. They're just hidden but not deleted. So somewhere here is, yeah, play. So you can see invisible button. Again, something which you can use in your game for some reason. This title is here now. Okay, and maybe my game designer says, okay, let's try it like this. No, it's not animated. That's cool. I don't want it animated, but I want it bigger, like this. Okay, or maybe rotated. So I'm now making those changes here in my towels. Towers versus monsters in my room. So let me try this. Okay, yeah, this looks good. We only need buttons back. Okay, so I will hide it for a second. Hide title and show my sequences. So there must be a way to hide title sequence only, and when I select sequence layer, you can see below I have this assets window where I have sequence menu button, sequence menu title. When I click on title, you see some kind of blue border. When I click on buttons, you see border around those and what they occupy, let's say it that way. So I don't want to mess with buttons. I need buttons. I want to only hide or delete this sequence menu title. So let me try with this. Yeah, export, which will hide it, or meaning it won't be exported in final. So I have unchecked this export button, so now my sequence menu title will be hidden or not exported, to be more precise, and I will now show my title here. So now I will have my new title with all the buttons. Yeah, it works. Let me try play, and it looks good actually. Yeah, so maybe a little bit more to the top and left, but it works. So that could be one way to do it, and we have learned a lot of other things. I will now select it and move it maybe a little bit like this. We have learned about different ways how to do it. We have used simple sprite drag into asset layer, how to create asset layer, how to import sprite into it, sprite which is not animated, and title sprite. We have also learned how to hide sequences, how to hide some or not export some sequences, not all, by using the layer hide or export checkbox. And this was only using sprites. We can do that with objects also, but I will show that in different videos, not to break half an hour of talking. And also we have to learn about sequences, of course, later on, because we also have those sequences here in terms of here they are. When you click on those drag and drop blocks, there are blocks for sequences. It's just we haven't learned them yet. So that's up to us. We will check that out in future, combine it maybe with those sequences, but you can see how actually by just experimenting and clicking and learning the ropes of template or game maker, you can learn lots of different things at the same time. Sequences, animations, sprites, objects, layers, it's all connected, and just don't be afraid to experiment. That's it for this video, and one more thing only, just to try to relax you a little bit more about this. I have used this image as a title. That was the whole idea for this video, because again, when you want to make this game original, like make some kind of different enemies, different environment, you will need different titles, so you will have to change it sooner or later, and we have learned how to do it. But also you don't have to stop on that experiment. Just use common sense. if I have imported, put this sprite UI image, UI sprite title onto my room menu layer, which was asset layer, which I created, new asset layer. Maybe I can do that with other sprites, because maybe my game designer wants lots of things on the screen to attract the players. Like, for example, this game is about zombies, so let's try to add zombies. Those are not title, but I can add them probably as I did with this title image. So I can try to put zombie and Frankenstein here. Zombie walk down, sprite zombie walk down. Yeah, I can do that. Simple as that. Sprite zombie Frankenstein walk down. Yeah, cool. They are too small. No problem. Just click on them in your room and drag it like this. But the problem is here that you have to be aware that you scale them proportionally. And to do that, I think, yeah, press shift on your keyboard and yeah, so this looks much different now, I hope. Oops. And I can overlay those to overlap the title maybe. And you can see how this is completely new look. Simple as that, just literally a couple of clips, couple of seconds or minutes of experimenting and you have a new game. And funny thing, they are animated. You can see these sprites, we have only imported sprites on asset layers, but because they were animated, the animation is running. I don't care, I like this, I like how it looks great for menu screen, but sometimes you don't want to have those animations, so you're in problem here. How to stop sprite animation? Then you will have to define this as object, then drag the object in instances layer instead of asset layer, and with code stop it from moving. So this is the good example of what would be the difference, as much as I know, between sprite and object, in terms of you would need some code to stop this. Or maybe you have to delete sprites in your sprite animation. Other problem, again, you fix one thing, you make one new problem, and so on. So it's all a repetitive process, it's all cycles. We have a problem with the resolution because I have scaled those images, and I've talked about that in other tutorials, I think, when I talked about sketchbook and adding images and so on. The problem with resizing small JPEGs or PNG images, and they don't have to be small, but whenever you resize one image into bigger, larger, you will lose the resolution. It's like trying to stretch something which cannot be stretched. You can resize it down, so I can take this original zombie and make it smaller, and that will look okay. But when I try to make it bigger, like for some bigger resolution, or I don't know, in real world for some billboard, it would show up pixelization. That is again a whole new topic, but we are now faced with it. We have a problem. For me, so far this is only prototype, so I don't care, but on the long term you would have to solve this one too. That's it for this video. We have learned how to change the title, and again I have used the same image as we have used here before. You can for title Towers versus Monsters, but you can use some custom image. We have learned how to do it previously. Click on the sprites folder, create sprite, right click, create sprite, then go into that sprite and edit image and draw whatever you want. So it doesn't have to be this Towers versus Monsters image. It can be whatever your game is named. finally end half an hour. Let me wait for 8 more seconds. And that's it. See you in next video. Thanks for watching, and new Game Maker tutorials coming soon, but also some other stuff, I hope. See you soon. Bye for now.